Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay, thank you. So as Ben said, I'm Erin. I am one of the presidents of Veritas. I'm also a religion major, and I work for Convo. But I'm going to tell you something today and talk to you about something that you probably wouldn't expect from me, and that is doubt. 65% of American Christians admit to facing doubt about their faith, and our age group, young adults and college students, face twice as much doubt as any other age group. I feel those statistics because for the first 18 years of my life, all I knew was disbelief. Some Pepperdine students, and probably some of you in the audience here today, are able to talk to your friends here at Pepperdine about your Sunday school experience. You get to reminisce and relate with each other. I just never had that experience. A few weeks ago, I was watching a movie with some of my friends, and then someone declared that Nilla wafers were the official snack of Sunday school. And I was just confused. As a kid, I didn't spend enough time in church buildings to even know that they had snacks, or else I probably would have stayed. The only time I remember going to church, in fact, was when my mom told me that the room was going to be decorated like Narnia, so me being me, I assumed that meant that I'd be able to pet the lion. That obviously didn't happen, and I never went back to church. By the time I was old enough to actually think about spiritual issues on a deeper level, I had decided that God was a delusion, and people only believed in God to convince themselves that life had meaning. During my senior year of high school, I actually decided to read the Bible. But I didn't do this because I felt like I needed God, or because someone had assigned it to me for homework, or because I had some crazy vision where God was like, read the Bible. None of that happened. I started reading the Bible so that I could fight Christians when I got into political debates. I want to switch gears now for just a moment. How many of you have had a friend tell you something, and you just automatically go, no, that can't be, and you brush them off? I know that even when my most trustworthy friends tell me something that I think is a little bit outlandish, I'm tempted to just brush them off and say, no, you're messing with me. We see this in Scripture as well in the Gospel of John. We're told that the resurrected Jesus appeared to most of the disciples, but Thomas missed it. He wasn't there. When they tell him about the huge thing that has happened, Thomas brushes them off. He can't believe what they're saying, and frankly, I don't blame him at all. Just 3 days earlier, Thomas's best friend was tortured and killed, stabbed in order to verify that death, and then buried. If I went through trauma like that, and then my friends came up to me and were like, no, he's alive, I would think it was a cruel joke. Thomas gets a bad rep from this story, but I don't think it's deserved at all. I think he acts how many of us act every single day. Follow along with me, John 20:24-29. It's on your song sheets if you want to read. Now Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, we have seen the Lord. But Thomas said to them, unless I see in his hands the mark of the nails, and place my finger into the mark of the nails, and place my hand into his side, I will never believe. 8 days later, his disciples were inside again, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, peace be with you. Then he said to Thomas, put your finger here and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it in my side. Do not disbelieve, but believe. Thomas answered him, my Lord and my God. Jesus said to him, have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. While I talk about this passage, I want you to know that this message is for you. As I said before, I work for Convo, so I stand there in the back, and I know that some of you are here to do your homework, or you're here because you really need that extra Convo credit. Some of you are here because you have to be, but you have no interest in religion. Some of you are here and you've been hurt by the church, or you faced doubt and you walked away. And some of you are here and you consider yourself followers of Christ, but you still face hurdles and you still face doubt and disbelief at some point. I'm addressing everyone here because the chances are everyone here together in this amphitheater today will experience doubt like Thomas did at some point. The history of the Christian faith, since it started way back with the disciples, has always included doubt. When I was in high school, I felt just like Thomas, and I doubted like Thomas. Unless I saw those nail marks, I would not believe. But here's the thing. Even in my disbelief, God started showing up for me. He was reaching out to me with incredible evidence. He came to me like he did for Thomas, and he can do the same for you. At first, I couldn't believe because I felt that scientific evidence negated Christianity. What about all those things I knew to be fact, like evolution and climate change and dinosaurs? Weren't Christians those people who tried to claim that none of those things were true? It Additionally, I couldn't believe because of all the pain in the world. Just this past summer, both of my parents were hospitalized for separate issues and had emergency surgeries. My dad was in the ICU for days, and my mom had to care for him in the ICU while she was still relearning how to walk. That kind of situation has always tripped me up. How on earth could God be real and supposedly love us, but then still allow suffering like that? And that's only me and my one small family. What about poverty and violence and genocide and all the other tragedies that this world faces? On top of everything, what about human rights? Didn't the Bible cause the Crusades? And doesn't the Bible lead all of those hate groups to stand on the corner and yell about hell? That's what I thought. I thought that all Christians were part of groups like that, and my mind was made up. I couldn't possibly be a part of a group that does so much bad in this world. So remember when I told you that I read the Bible to be able to fight Christians? It's exactly what I did. I grilled all of my Christian friends, threw question after question at them, and in their answers, I didn't find scientific doubt or pain or hatred or anything like that. I found love and security. Have you ever gotten in a fight and came out with fists swinging, only to be met by calmness? It's really frustrating. The other person's infuriatingly calm and nice, and all you want to do is fight and argue. That's what I encountered when all I wanted to do was fight. Through those people, Jesus began to show up for me. And since then, he's only continued to show up just like he did for Thomas. Somewhere along the way, instead of being a bad fairy tale, Jesus became real for me. I just couldn't argue anymore. The things that originally caused me to doubt became the things that now give me security in my beliefs. Take this example. All these plants around us, all these trees, a single leaf is incredibly intricate. They take in gases that are poisonous to humans and somehow convert them into water and oxygen, which are the two things humans need the most to survive. They take the things that kill us and literally make them into the things that keep us alive. How crazy is that? Through science, God took those things that make me refuse to believe and started to make me see how the things around me could point towards an intelligent creator rather than towards chaos. Jesus said to me, "Do not disbelieve, but believe." The events this summer with my parents were obviously not good, but I've now witnessed the human body's incredible ability to recover, as well as the astounding resiliency of the human spirit. And it's not just my parents. If you look around, some of the people who go through the most difficult things end up being the most joyful and confident humans. I now see those transformations as deeply spiritual. When my family went through hardship and came back stronger, that was Jesus approaching me with outstretched arms and saying, "Do not disbelieve, but believe." And those people who yell about hell on the street corner, I've learned that they need Jesus' love most of all. I no longer see them as people to get angry with, but rather people who really need to see some compassion so that they can learn to implement it in their own lives. They no longer make me refuse to believe, but rather they make me see how desperately our world needs to believe in the redemptive love of Jesus. Even in my darkest days, the days that honestly embarrass me to talk about now, Jesus came to me in my own locked room and helped me to see that his suffering is for me too. He let me see those holes in his hands, and he said to me, "Do not disbelieve, but believe." So now I want to ask all of you, what holes does Jesus need to show you? If you can open up those parts of yourself to God, he will show up. Lean in like Thomas did. Investigate the things that make you wonder. Stop being afraid to ask tough questions. Who knows how the story would have ended up if Thomas had remained quiet and complacent? If you have the courage to stand up and say, "Hey, these are the things I'm struggling to understand. These are the things that are causing me to doubt right now. This is what I'm struggling with," I have no doubt that Jesus will show up for you and help to fill those gaps. Now, he probably won't physically appear to you and ask you to touch his hands, but he can show up for you like he did for me through friends, through classes, and through everyday experiences if you let him. So 65% of Christians experience doubt, but more than half of those say that their doubts ended up making their faith stronger. They leaned into what they were thinking and feeling, and Jesus met them where they were. When you enter into a relationship with the living Christ, you don't have to be anything that you're not. When I began my faith walk, I was angry, confused, and resentful, and that's where Jesus met me. If disbelief is part of who you are right now, Jesus wants to know that part of you along with all of the other parts. It turns out that disbelief does not have to be dangerous ground. Rather, it can be fertile soil for belief to grow. Please pray with me.